A lot of changes to drafting this week here on 25-16 with Pantheon being left open a lot of the time, especially in Rise Group, to grab picks like the Wukong and the Wukong Annie rotation. See if that does come to pass here, as the Yunara will be banned away. That's also been left up sometimes to mixed results. Don't try to play it into Ruler's Corky Nico with Duro on the side. Viper learned.
It looks like we're just going to get the Yap bans here from the side of OK Man Breon, the YAP.
Well, if Wukong isn't banned here, they may, again, opt to trade for that Annie Wukong.
The Yaw.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, they just ban something else and give Pantheon, then take Annie Wukong on their side.
Yeah.
They could ban, for example, an Orianna and take that away. The Rumble banned here, taking that away from Morgan as the final ban. Taliyah gone, so the trade of Taliyah Azir not going to be a factor here. So do you leave Pantheon up, or do you just yap it and say your move D+? Lucid Xin Zhao, kind of an issue. I don't know if it's first pickable here, but it's certainly something they could consider.
Yeah, that is true. I think they were playing on the red side in that game, so it kind of made more sense for him to pick it up. It's going to be the Wukong ban.
Interesting that they would ban both the Yunara and the Wukong here. And now Pantheon is up. They must have an answer to this, or at least in their minds, an answer to the Pantheon that's not Annie Wukong.
This is like, oh man, I really wanted to play Xin Zhao. Come on, guys. I don't want to play Pantheon. He's probably going to have to.
I think he certainly will, because Pantheon Annie is pretty good as well. And
he said it twice there. Nope, he didn't.
Maybe he's saying what they're going to pick on the other side.
Perhaps.
All right, well, they took the Annie away. So that's a start.
Group pick.
Don't tell me we've pushed Rise Xin Zhao into R1, R2 Game 1 Valdez, not Game 2, R1, R2 Rise Xin Zhao, no. Galio has been the most common answer to Annie, but instead we'll see the Orianna to come through. Orianna Jarvan feels incredibly powerful, but the Pantheon is just still up. It's not the same type of ball carrier, but still relatively decent. And because of his shield, he can close the gap with that and then go on to somebody with a stun, set up a combo that way.
Yeah, a little bit more short range in terms of the engage, so I'm glad you do point that out. As Lucian's, he's got a little grin. He's like, hell yeah, this is exactly what I wanted. No! He's swapping over to Jarvan.
The Jarvan is so strong in this situation because it deters a Sivir pick.
Oh.
And
maybe Game 2.
We may just simply not see the Sivir now at all for Bro, since this has been locked in. Let's see what the final pick is going to be here. It could just be that aiming or barrel lock in. They wanted to push something up like the Alistar and be strong with this composition. I don't think we're going to see a Bard at this point blind. So we'll just see the Aurora, which is in fact going to be blind in this case. I don't think we're going to see support Annie.
No.
I mean, it's barrel, so it's possible,
not.
You know, I suppose.
Yeah, it is possible. It's Rise Group, baby. Anything could happen. And Morgan has to decide, do I pick something here?
It's a great deterrent to Gwen, that's for sure. I don't think he was necessarily planning on picking it in this R3 spot, and he will go for the Ambessa here instead. So we're going to go into the second phase with our top side completely locked in, but no real idea about what that bottom side looks like just yet. For D+ Kia, you have very strong engage and some great follow-up. So even something like Azeri works really well for them because it's really easy to clean up those kills after the Annie, Jarvan, Aurora go in and hit the front line. So we'll see if that's something that Bro want to take away. Kai'Sa works well with this too, and so they might also ban that. Whereas Bro's composition has more conditional engage. Doesn't have a strong side lane threat per se because it's Ambessa laning into Aurora. The Orianna has a lot of wave clear but isn't safe that much in side lanes, so the Pantheon doesn't work too well with it yet.
Yeah, it definitely feels more like a big team fighting comp, you know, power of friendship, a lot of synergy. You got the Ambessa to access the back line alongside of the Pantheon potentially.
Jhin feels pretty good for Bro's comp. They took the Nico away, which is Usually, I mean, Nico's incredibly strong with this comp here for D plus Kia, all the circles, etc., all the CC they already have, but it's usually a ban that is trying to protect your bottom lane 2v2 more than anything else. And Paulo is a pretty decent Nico player himself. Not the best in the Rise group, but he decides to take that away. So I'm wondering what the angle here is going to be for what their bottom lane is going to look like. There's that Alistar I mentioned that Barrow might have wanted to push up instead of the Aurora. And that's now no longer an option. Taking a lot of engaged supports away here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the next on the chopping block would be something like a Rel. And then you're kind of left with, you know, the Leonas of the world if we go that far in terms of banning engaged supports.
Paulo loves his Rel.
Poppy.
He's not going to be playing the Poppy this time. As will we just see that Jhin to come through with the front line they have here. Pretty safe into this Jarvan Annie composition as well because he's going to be following up from long range. Tough to engage on. Ezreal, another consideration, I suppose. That's pretty safe here.
It's either super long range or you get something that's got mobility, or you just pick the Rel, which with the Poppy band and the Alistar band and not a lot of engaged supports, you just take away.
Okay, Corki going to feel pretty good into trading with the Rel when she looks for her Shattering Strikes or Crash Downs in the lane. Just incredibly powerful in the 2v2. Great follow-up. It's a different type of follow-up to Jhin. Like, Jhin doesn't go in, he just follows up from far away, whereas Corki follows up from far away by going in and doing a ton of damage when he hits his 2-item spike. They're going to lock it. And with no Nico here, and this comp not really being that much of a Bard angle, you could set up some combos with Bard or even Cataclysm into Bard into Annie, but might just be begin to with that Leona pick you were talking about just for follow-up engage. Beryl with a lot to say about it. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think this is the Janna angle that maybe some Janna enthusiasts be asking for. He is hovering the Bard.
I mean, what we saw yesterday, again, from Keria, I was watching that and I'm like, everybody should be playing Bard. Like, just how strong it is into engage, as set up. Yes, it's very difficult, but as the players get better and better at it, it just feels so good. As we're picking Sivir into Jarvan, yes, it's good into Bard, but I'm not sure about it against the rest of the comp.
Yeah, we've seen so many times the Sivir picked into the Bard because you can spell shield the Tempered Fate. It's very safe, but you know, when you're in AD carry, if you're thinking about Tempered Fate as your win con, you know, I can shut that down, then your comp has other issues, I think.
Yeah.
The Jarvan is going to smash this Sivir. There's so many types of CC, there's so many ways to pop that spell shield, they only have one opportunity to use that. I think this comp really is more about trying to set up the mid prio so the Pantheon has a little bit more agency to roam around the map and make those ganks happen in side lanes with this Ambessa. But I think in terms of team fights, I really like more what D plus Kia put together here. They also have the Aurora into the Ambessa matchup, which can be quite powerful if played well. So there's a lot of pressure on each individual laner here for the side of Bro, and then their teamwork in team fights has to be good. And Paulo, flip a coin on those Rel engages, because on heads, it's like some of the best you've ever seen. Yeah. But on tails, he's just going in, he's missing everything. And I hate to say that about Paulo. He's our favorite green giant, you know? Yeah. But he's had some ups and he's had some downs, and it's this pick in particular that I always think of when I think of Paulo's greatest engages, but also his biggest flubs.
Yeah, two different types of albums there. Well, let's hope we get the greatest hits from him this time around, as he could be a big game changer on that Rel in this game number one. We're ready. It's DK versus Bro for game number one. All right, game number one between these two. DK looking for revenge and also to attempt to get Bro out of play-ins. You know, they don't have a lot to play for themselves, potentially, but also, you know, if Bro get into play-ins, you play a best of 5 against Bro, maybe that gets a little scary if you are D plus Kia. Maybe even more than any other team that they might have to face. So, you know, take them down here, give TRX a chance to catch up.
If Bro lose here, their fate is not entirely in their hands, right? Like, you know, it is in the matchup against DRX in the final match, but DRX, if they win both matches, like, they're just in no matter what, right? If you win here as Bro, you have a lot more wiggle room if DRX loses either of those matchups, you're already ahead in game score right now. So even taking a single game puts you one step closer to having that gap advantage you need to secure play-ins, but winning the series outright feels like, and then DRX have to beat you directly as well as BNK in order to pass you, so ends up giving you such an extra edge here. And I think when you look at the history between these two teams, if you haven't watched recent form, I think that's part of why our Team Snowball has Bro at such a high win percentage. You're like, oh, of course they beat D+ again. Like, keep doing that. Yeah. Surely it'll happen a third time in a row.
Yeah, I mean, the stats don't lie, do they? The percentage is absolutely accurate. We're taking a look at some of the runes that we have here. Big fan of the Phase Rush on as many people as can take it. But also do have the Unsealed Spellbook for both of these supports.
You do see the rare Electrocute Ambessa into the Aurora. This is really common to see in this matchup specifically, so that the Ambessa has a little bit of power to trade. It's so rare that you actually take Electrocute as a melee champion into a ranged champion, but because Ambessa has so many dashes, she can actually proc the Electrocute relatively well. Unless she outspaces you and just prevents you from proccing it, in which case you just feel sad. And that's going to be Morgan until he hits level 3.
So the Rise group has been having a lot of success with the Annie.
We've taken the Wukong out of the equation. We're like, all right, let's keep the number high and just put Annie in.
So Paulo going to miss there and actually take a bunch of damage after the fact. Definitely getting bullied. This is what happens when you blind pick Rel, right? I mean, this is kind of just meant to happen. There's not really much that Hype and Palu can do about it except look for all-ins, but you're not really in a position to do that right now, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, you could see trying to spell shield a Bard Q, and
I thought you said Rum. I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, we're all trying to dodge.
Interesting kind of bro and brood today, I guess. A little bit more action packed, you know.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere right here. It's 5:11.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this lane is what we knew was going to be a problem with almost any support here with Corki, because when Rel tries to go in for the trade, you just shred those resistances. But when you have a range support like the Bard in this case, or the Rum in this case, then it's kind of an issue for Palu. Every time you miss or every time you try to go for those engages, it really hurts. And that's also part of the reason I think we see Corki coming back into the meta, is because we don't see the Aftershock anymore. It's just Spellbook. So Corki's like, I love these trades, man, even if you hit me. Paulo, where are you going?
Yeah, he was going very far up the lane. I'm not sure exactly why, but perhaps didn't expect Beryl to be there, and Beryl just threatened him with a binding. So Paulo now doesn't have flash or heal after that little bit of a whoopsie.
It looks like because there's a ward in the northernmost brush, I think he knew that. So he's like, I can't back in that brush, so I need to back on the mid brush. So he tried to go up and hope they didn't see him. I think that's what happened. Either way, he now has his AD carry alone in the top lane and is still struggling to back as Beryl continues to prevent him from doing so, as that brush was still warded when he tried it a second time there.
Yeah, he'll go back. I like this swap from Bro because every lane was losing. Like, Morgan was losing, even Closer was losing to Annie. So that's a bit of a iffy kind of situation there. And then also their bottom lane obviously was losing, which makes a lot of sense. There's not a lot of winning lanes for Bro, so they're just going to try to swap it up and see what happens.
Yeah, you get out of this tough Corki Bard lane, and you get your Ambessa out of the lane into the Aurora. It's still not going to be like Ambessa's like, aha, I win this 1v2, but you're supposed to lose 1v2 in a top line matchup. Otherwise, you want to get as close as possible. And then also the Aurora can hold her own into this Sivir Rel lane pretty well. So you get out of one bad situation. You're now in like less bad, but still not great.
Yeah. We'll harass Tibbers coming down here on a Closer. Do as much damage as possible. Lucid is nearby alongside of Tibbers, but Closer playing very safe in this lane, actually. He's mostly just been hugging the turret. He's down some CS in this one because of that. And again, this just means that Lucid gets to do whatever he wants. Like, this is a jungler's happiest kind of game where every lane is winning. And yeah, you don't necessarily get great gank opportunities because everybody's hugging their turret, but maybe you get some dive opportunities. Maybe you can take some extra camps.
Yeah, you get to take any part of the jungle you want. A Showmaker is going to play very aggressively here. That was a near opportunity there for Krako. And at the end of the day, they maintain prio, and like we were saying, you get first, right of refusal on Drake. You get first right of refusal on a potential invade into the blue buff, which he may go for after set Drake if they want to, because his Corki lane is absolutely decimating Hype and Paulo, who have now returned to this lane. Morgan finds himself 20 farm behind because he also swapped down here, was losing the lane before, then loses the lane in the swap, and so D+ just running this early game from prio alone.
I mean, it's 1,000 gold the lead for DK, and nothing has happened. They're just naturally getting this massive lead early on. It's a big problem for Bro, and it's something that Duke actually mentioned in their most recent interview. He was like, we really got to get better at these early laning phases. Now, when you look at the draft and you look at the lanes, they're not exactly giving themselves a lot to work with, right? So it's like, we got a losing lane top, we got a losing lane bot, and mid should be okay, but it's not. That might be the one where you look at and say, okay, we can improve there, but yeah, it's just not a great situation for them in the early game.
Yeah, it's not a great situation for the items I see in Closer's inventory for any mid-game team fights either.
It's taking a page out of Chovy's book.
Yeah, sometimes Chovy is the only one who could read that book, is the only one who could decipher it. Others have tried to copy his works.
Yeah, that's like the sealed spellbook.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the unsealed one that anybody can access.
Double haunting guys,
Yeah.
max W second on Ziggs. It's some forbidden tech. Like, we all
Rod of
know.
Ages on everybody, including Ziggs.
Prophet Ox has spoken of this at length.
Yeah.
And yet Chovy still turns to what some would consider unnatural.
He shouldn't be allowed to do that, but he's trying to transcend the league.
Break with tradition.
Yeah. So Lucid got the Drake, and now he's going to get all 3 of the grubs. He hasn't invaded a lot. He's behind 2 CS, but I don't think he cares because he's getting everything for his team, and he's feeling very good about it.
I mean, Showmaker's just using Tibbers for prio, just dropping it on Closer repeatedly here, knowing that TPs are down for both of them. That's going to guarantee he can rotate faster. They're still winning this top 2v2. Beryl has Tempered Fate, so there's even the consideration potentially here of coming up and trying to gank some sums if you're Lucid. He doesn't decide to do that, does just come down and start clearing his jungle again, but they just have so much agency. His Beryl isn't even going to get Paulo to get out of here by just surfing over the wall.
Yeah. I like how he was hiding on that bush, and he was just like, I'm not here, but I'm also immediately available if necessary, because I am Bard, and I can also scout for any junglers that are coming up, so.
And they likely know, like, they don't know exactly where he is. He could be looking for a gank mid as CSL ult.
Yeah, nice little play here from Closer, but it's mainly just for prio, not going to look for any kind of kill. Showmaker is just fine. Looks like he's got a refillable as well.
Now, even though we don't like this build necessarily, at least I'm the one who said he didn't really like it as much for Closer, it is going to really help him start to take control of this lane, as he has the extra Catalyst sustain, which will keep him full health, and so he can just kind of continue to push the ante like that. So you can see a bit of a turn once that item comes through versus the Boots of Lucidity that Showmaker puts up. That'll help him get his stuns up more often, but Closer can just kind of battle his way through now. So that's somewhat of a turning point, as Beryl is everywhere, man. He's looking for a second opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, we have an ult coming through here. Oh, not going to land the stun, though. So Hype, I think, just kind of runs it off with his ult. On the hunt, more like on the retreat.
Yeah. Hunting safety in this case.
Yeah.
At least he was able
always
to find
wear
his
your
prey.
goggles. I actually know nothing about hunting. They're always wearing goggles for some reason.
Well, I mean, I said safety, so in my mind, I thought you were talking about like, like lab goggles for
like
safety.
A chemist
lab
or something.
safety.
Yeah.
Hunting safety, get those plastic glasses that your teacher told you to wear that will definitely help against small splashes, but otherwise, just be careful. It's
better than nothing.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, Beryl just made a decent impact there. Came mid, pushed Closer back, but wasn't able to get anything permanent. Was hiding that bush for a while, which probably made the bro, bottom do a thing. Oh, there's possibly a Lucid dive coming, a Tempered Fate the turret. He doesn't obviously go for anything like that, but just constantly applying pressure as Bard really well in this game. A good sign for Beryl's form on this pick, which has been up and down. Enough to win a world championship. So that's the biggest up, I'd say.
Yeah.
even though his form on the day on the pick was not everyone's favorite, but still got the trophy.
Got the trophy, that's all that matters. And I think it's just natural that Bard is becoming more and more prevalent. It's a very high skill ceiling champion, but the more you play it, the better you get at it. The more you see examples of it playing well, the more you know how to utilize it.
Now, speaking of trophies, we both junglers have their Sundered Sky, which is the trophy item right now. And tons of vision around this dragon here for Bro. It's the second dragon. They want to secure this denied double dragon here for D+, but they don't have control of their vision, and D+ are able to clear this away as Morgan misses an ultimate. And Shiyu has TP advantage, actually. This is somewhat disastrous for Bro, in fact, because he could just show up here at a moment's notice, and D+ are definitely primed to look for a fight here.
And there's no real way for Morgan to stop that TP from coming in either, so with that ultimate gone, I feel like DK, as long as they, check all the boxes, clear out all the vision, nobody gets caught, they should be just fine. Showmaker did use Tibbers pretty early on here to try to chunk out Closer, but as you mentioned before, Closer's just fine. Looks like Hype wanted to go for a back, maybe looking for that first item, but he gets his back denied. So I feel like that's another win for DK to just go ahead and try to start up the Drake and take it for free.
They had the vision, but they weren't able to protect it. They weren't able to group for it. And Closer, like he had plenty of health, but he's still got no offensive capabilities or really great setup to look for a ball, a big shockwave in this team fight, even though he had that ult advantage over Showmaker that you pointed out. So D+ are just like, we got TP advantage topside. I think that's why we saw that all-in attempt from Morgan there. He's like, well, I at least gotta get his health. I don't think he thinks he can kill there, but he's like, if we get his health low, he'll have to back. He'll have to either then decide to TP to the fight or give me plate gold in the top side, but he misses the ultimate. And so they just don't get anything here. It is Chemtech Soul off the double dragon, so pretty low roll here for D+, but they get the objective just the same. All three. And objective feats of strength here as fast as humanly possible go to D+ Kia.
Yeah. Hype is not going to back again. He's tried to back like 4 times. This time he chooses not to, just to make sure he picks up the wave. But like, I do wonder how much gold he's sitting on and how long he's going to stay there without getting his item. He finishes his call, which is also important, so maybe needed that little bit of extra. But again, still no first blood. 14 minutes into game number 1. Nobody has died. There's really been a lack of action across the board. It's just been kind of DK getting everything and Bro accepting that fact. At least they've shored up a lot of the gold deficits from the lane, so Bro have that going for them. As Paulo's just going to throw out the ult here, and the Mega Cone out from Lucid means that we don't have the Magnet Storm coming in from the side of Paulo, but we have the rest of the engage. The Shockwave going to hit Barrel only, as now Lucid is totally fine, and everybody's baited into the Aurora ult. In comes Lucid with the Mega Cone engaged. They try to turn onto him. A lot of CC comes out from him, but that's going to be about it, as he does go down, as eventually Paulo as well will follow suit. Really, the only question is when, as that'll be the win for DK in this fight. As down he goes, the kill goes to Barrel.
Barrel notorious for being a bloodthirsty bard. He is getting a lot of the kills when he's on this pig. Gets that one there, because he's the one who is able to check and find Paulo as Hype.
Oh boy.
Not going to enjoy his time here. Nobody enjoys their time laning into Corki in the mid lane, especially when that Triforce is done. Paulo gets caught here initially, trying to clear vision out. Uses Magnet Storm to try to buy time, because Morgan's rotating over. He has his ultimate right. They have the Pantheon ult. And this looks initially like, sure, we don't have the Rel ult, but we can turn on this. But Tempered Fate's pretty strong.
A little dive on a Showmaker, but he's totally fine, and Krakos is dead. Looks like a dive went horrifically wrong in the bottom lane, as that's going to be feats of strength here for the side of D+ Kia, and they're getting everything now in this early game.
Yeah, this is starting to feel like it's going to turn into an insurmountable lead. So this is Showmaker just trying to get back to lane. The timing of this is just off, and the stun here onto Krako as he goes for the engage under turret Ragro, and now I don't even want to know what's going on down here.
Yeah, Paulo a bit zoned, and yeah, Barrel gonna take that kill, absolutely. Could have maybe waited for Tibbers to get the kill, but that's a little bit dangerous. You're wasting a lot of time, so better to just take it. Now we got a 2-0-1 Barrel Bard. I do wonder what the second item will be. Probably just more control wards knowing Barrel. But yeah, this is Bro. It looks like they're trying to be proactive and set stuff up, but they're just kind of stripping over their own shoelaces.
Backfiring. Like, I can really give the first fight to Bro because that looked like a pretty nice angle. They go into the choke point, though. Showmaker gets a lot of value. He has a really nice cone stun as well towards the later end of that fight. And then the Aurora ultimate as well on top of everything. The Tempered Fate is what buys them the time to get into position to fight it. But from Bro's perspective, it looks like, okay, we have an angle here just quickly enough to win this fight before the rest of D+'s cavalry arrive, but they're not able to do so. The dive fails. They try to aggressively posture bottom lane a second time. That also fails. And now Paulo, obviously flashless from that second to last engage, means that his next engage opportunity on potentially the Soul Point fight is also going to be a little bit less. So lots of L's here for Bro in the early game. Find themselves only 2,000 gold behind, but tempo is completely against them. Paulo loses a fourth of his health bar.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like they're desperately trying to get in here and challenge this Rift Herald. I mean, they're even going to redemption it, as it looks like it's just going to be up to the eye hit. It goes over to Lucid, barely. He's got a Mega Cone to get in and get the eye and get out as he's Jarvan. Nice little Mission Impossible play there from Lucid. DK, Showmaker's getting the bottom turret. They're getting the Rift Herald. They're winning all the fights.
If only Paulo had flash there, maybe he could have flash engaged, right? I mean, unironically, that's a huge loss for Bro. He's not quite able to find the angle he wants. They know Showmaker doesn't have TP, but he's pushing the top or the bottom turret. So if they don't deal with this Herald play, they're gonna lose a turret and Herald, so they feel priced into it, but they're a little bit late to the play. They're not able to set up for it. They don't get the Herald. Showmaker gets the turret anyways, and they hard force for the 50-50, and it doesn't go their way, so nothing turning up Bro here in this early game, and D+ looking like they're back in form.
Right on time, honestly. I mean, this is the last week of the regular season, so we finish this, they go straight into best of fives. And they have to have a lot of different picks ready. They have to be ready to not only deal with the play-ins teams, but also they should feel, as long as they're on form, that they should be a playoff team. And you know, at this point in time, based on what we've seen out of them and out of Gnomeshin, we could definitely see them being there. But we'll have to wait and see. That's definitely a bit far in the future, at least a couple of weeks away.
No redemption for Blast Coners. Valdez says that all the time, but in this case, the Blast Cone denied either of them being hit by the redemption.
In this game, though, the Blast Cone usage has been very good. I've been actually very, very pleased. It's mostly been engaged. It's not like guys running away and just taking them for free because they were there. And, you know, lack of interaction until it's just like some random RNG chance. And it's actually been, like, good Blast Cone usage, so I've actually enjoyed it myself this game, which is a rare sight.
It is. Rare sight and rare sounds to hear you admit it as well, but we have, you know, occasionally heard Valdez be positive about it. Chemtech Dragon secured. Soul Point, again, not the end of the world for Bro. It's just everything else that's a bit in tatters.
Yeah.
The Orianna that's 0-0-1 that hasn't been able to make an impact in team fights, that's sitting on a 6-stack Rod of Ages is, you know, it's not my favorite. Got him through the tougher parts of that lane, but otherwise hasn't been able to offer any burst. But I don't know what item he could have built here that would have changed how Bro are set up for these fights. Like if he had Luden's Companion for the big boom boom, it wouldn't matter if he's not shockwaving anyone because they're just always behind on the play. And this is the comp that has the Sivir. This is the comp that has the Pantheon, and yet they're just still not able to set up for anything in this game. They've given up every single objective, not a grub to their name.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Sivir in the mid lane oftentimes getting prio and pushing waves really fast. Hype has not been able to step up to a single wave. Like, he's sitting here losing 1v1 to aiming because both the supports are roaming, and, you know, the Rel is not really going to be able to threaten Corki ever. This is what happens when you blind pick the Rel again, as now we're going to get another Tempered Fate in. This Barrel wants to not take the redemption, actually. They want to just get away from this one. Morgan TP's into the fight, but he's not really doing anything, just has to run away.
Tipper's going to do a lot of damage on the zone here as well. Herald gets dropped here. This turret is just gone, and they might even be able to get the inner as well. They're grouped for it. Charge is going to go through. I thought perhaps they were going to try to deny the charge, D+, that is, to kill the turret first and then look for a follow-up there. Instead, they back away. They don't have the Tempered Fate. And they just play a little bit safer here. Tipper's also down, but was very useful there to deny any follow-up. Hype gets second item IE here. Has that one picked up, so has item parity with the Corki that will soon have item parity with him once he picks up the Murmana, which he's backing to buy right now. So 2 items apiece on 80 carries here is very very strong for Bro in a lot of situations, but you know, it's the fact that they don't have prio. It's the fact that this Orianna can't do anything if she doesn't ever get into a position to be able to either zone with Shockwave or set up Morgan or Krako to carry the ball into the fight. And so that's the concerns I have here moving forward. This Chemtech Soul, not that valuable for this comp at all, really. Like, Lucid will get some value out of it. Shiu arguably gets some value out of it. But this is like best case scenario for Bro to be 0-3 on Dragons.
Yeah.
It just still feels like there's too many other problems, Valdez.
There are a lot of problems. I mean, they've lost kind of everything, and aiming is Omega strong now on his 2-item spike, and you know, Beryl with 2 Chemtech Drakes is going to be healing extra with the Redemption. Imagine that. As if he needed any extra for that OP item, as all the supports have declared it here at the LCK, the OP item. Everybody seems to build that now, or Mikhail's as their first item. Not a whole lot of locketing, feels like nowadays.
I remember Shirelius, remember that item?
Yeah, did see it. I think it was built yesterday as like a second item, or maybe it was last week. But yeah, I think that was like the first time in a long time. Just doesn't feel very common.
It's okay, you got Sivir. It's the next best thing. As Bro are going to have to do the Desperation Otacon where they try to set up for this. Their Sivir is not here. Closer is going to have to look for a big Shockwave to deny the approach here, and they just do not have enough vision here of the approach of D+ to even look for that. They now kite away, but I think they're just going to have to back away from this entirely. If they hold this, they will regret it. Palu looking for a flank here, but is seen.
I mean, you're playing into Bard as well. Like, Beryl can set up this fight with an ult if need be, if you're going to get it very low. The engage, though, goes on a Showmaker, and the Temper Fate is late. Same time, though, Morgan just going to be picked off for some reason on the top side. Looks like Aiming and Lucid were able to catch him. Exhaust comes in on a Krako. Now massive Aurora ult on a 4. Catches everyone, and they try to turn on a Shiu. He just gets away, and the ticking damage is insane. Everybody's super low. Hype can't do enough. He has to be in melee range. Krako falls as well. And it's not a leash Otacon, but it's going to be Otacon still for DK on top of a gigantic fight.
The target selection very poor for Bro in the latter part of that fight, but you can see how you could use Otacon to turn like this onto someone like Showmaker. All the engages used, though, there's no peel for Morgan, and Aiming's damage is just obscene. So it's a trade 1-for-1 at the initial part of this fight, and then watching the follow-up here as Krako goes in kind of alone.
Oh.
The Aurora ultimate zones everyone away, and then watch how everyone kind of doesn't really know what to do next. And like, it's tough because you lose all 4 in every scenario, but maybe you get a trade kill if everyone calls one target. They kind of all just hit whoever was closest to them and fell there in the end. I don't hate the Otacon call in its initial setup, but I think they stayed on it way too long.
Yeah, like you said, it was, you know, a bit of desperation. You can look for a turn, but the execution, man, it is Rise Group, baby, after all. That's just the way it goes sometimes. As now, we do have the Chemtech Soul up and available for DK if they win another fight here with Otacon, with this gigantic gold lead that they have for this point in the game, 6,000. You're feeling pretty good. Aiming is just Valkyrieing into Ambessa and not caring at all. Lucid looking for the kill now on a Morgan as he immediately turns that one around. Morgan gonna have the redemption as well. Misses his ult though. Shiu just runs in and dies. Does get a big ult himself, but now both the top laners down. Beryl is out, and that is not the ult we were looking for. Palu, as he is immediately just going to be pummeled by Lucid, and the damage from this Corki is just obscene. As finally, Showmaker gonna join the fight. Flash W's and gets the pick off, and that will be Chemtech Soul for DK.
And the fight looked kind of good there for Bro in its initial outset. I mean, Shiu got a lot done with his ultimate, but fell instantly. Beryl is also taken out, but this is the Bro that actually has the target selection, right? This is the Bro that is actually properly set up for this team fight, with the exception of Krako's stacks here. The flag and drag is actually insane. Gets the double, and then the redemption goes down, or sorry, the tempered fate. And they're able to focus Shiu down, but look at what's happening on the top side of this fight. As they chase Beryl down, Morgan does once again fall, and then this from Palu was a big miss. If he holds that and they actually group for the 4v3, I think there's a real chance of victory here. Showmaker also flashing in onto this Orianna. Gets the flash out of Hype as well. Does not want to be involved in that. So big summoners down across the board here for Bro now, and there's just no escape in that situation that went from bad to worse. And that Palu engage, you know, if he just had a little bit more information, or if it was a little bit more patient, or maybe even wanted to use it defensively to help them retreat. Like the fact that he has it means that D+ can't chase as much there. There were so many better ways that could have gone for Bro, but instead it's Chemtech Soul. It's Baron on the cards here now. And with Palu, no flash. No flashes for your carries.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you can actually contest this. I mean, D+ are playing it safe. They're doing their due diligence and setting up deep vision around the pit, but at this point, I almost don't feel like they need to. You know, it's quite a bit of damage they have on their hands here as well, with even the Leandries for Shiu.
Yeah. There were a couple of interesting stats we showed as well, that Shiu has actually done more damage than aiming. I'm actually a bit surprised by that, but he has had some really huge ults. Also, that Croc goes down 2 levels on the Pantheon. You know, this is a big prio pick right now in the LCK. As speaking of which, the Pantheon is bot lane. We'll see if they can even kill Shiu. He's desperately trying to get to the other side. And yes, he goes down, but you're giving over this, as Palu does have Smite.
He does have Smite. He will be able to potentially try to get over the wall here.
Pantheon has his ult, but I feel like it's a little bit too little too late. Palu, it's going to come down to you as he goes over the wall, and it's not going to go to you at all, as Lucid is able to smite it down. Has the advantage there. The Shockwave, just desperation, as D+ Kia, they give up their top laner for Baron.
That's not jungle Rel. That's not old damage to monsters Rel. Sadly for him. Okay.
Wait. Not the best magical journey, but it's just okay. Closer just, okay, he's dead up on the top lane. And meanwhile, Barrel actually baited this a little bit. We got Tibbers in here. Showmaker says, I can take the 1v4, it's fine.
D+?
I have Zhonya's, and the rest of the team is trying to come on over here. And by the rest of the team, I mean Lucid. And the TP is coming in. I suppose that's why he kept on going on this. No flag available for Lucid. Now he gets it back. As now we've got the Aurora back in the fight. And immediately it is going to be the long-term bait and switch here as triple kill comes through. And, well, the disengage cone does come in. But that's fine as D+ Kia will just push mid.
Every time it feels like in these drafts, D+ have maybe made a bit of an overextension, maybe playing a little bit with their food. She was like, I got this. Gets a penta on the Nexus defense on this champ. This time around is going to win them the team fight, picks up a triple. And D+ here, you know, with a responding Sivir in 20 seconds, can't kill the Nexus, I don't think, unless Bro make a mistake here on their attempted defense of this inhibitor, which they should absolutely let go. But this game is all but over. It has been for a while, but this is kind of the cherry on top here for D+ at this point. And watch this play here once again. The collapse onto Closer. Just, you know, doesn't have any setup. No one's shadowing him. He has no vision protecting this this side laning. Over here, like, Barrel's just reminding everyone, not all who wander are lost, Valdez. Just getting some additional information for his team to then overextend so that Shiu can respawn in 10 seconds, TP behind them, and win the fight. Showmaker's like, I'm buying time. Shiu, I'm big up him. My top laner, as in live, we're having a bit of a tussle. But I want to see Shiu clean up again. Oh, this is boring.
Oh, we got to see the Pantheon losing. You know, that's very important for morale here at the LCK. As the engage from Palu once again not quite in, and the damage out of Shiu now is just disgusting. Level 17, big Shockwave comes in, but I think they're just a bit too far behind as Barrel is eventually going to go down, but everybody else just gets blown to smithereens. It's a quadra for aiming at the end of this one, and that will be game number 1 going the way of D+ Kia. 11-0 was aiming on the Corki, who absolutely just took over the game, as that'll do it. At 30 minutes, DK take the win.
Late season form here for D+ is looking fantastic. Erasing history almost in this first game, making you forget they have a losing record against Bro up until this point. They're trying to say the last match is the match that matters. And for Bro fans, they just, there's no real good things to see here. Like, you just didn't have an in this game at all, start to finish. Draft, I think, not horrible in terms of what 5v5s could have looked like, but with the lack of prio and the losing lanes, especially with this lane swap that feels like it pushed things from bad to worse, Bro just never had a chance to fight for anything. They gave up every single objective, and then we came to the mid game. The Corki was just tearing Sivir out of the mid lane. Barrel was everywhere on this Bard. And then Shiu just suddenly showed up and pressed R, and the health bars disappeared.
Yeah, no, that was his job. Show up and press a couple buttons and be Aurora. They didn't have a great answer to the Aurora either. Just kind of felt like from the red side, Bro were very lost in the draft and then also in the execution of their draft in this game number 1. So D plus Kia, as you mentioned, very much in form and looking good as CV Max still has a ton of notes after that game number 1. As we are done here, we'll take a break and have the space. We'll be right back.
소천사야 괜찮아. 소천사 괜찮아.
나 자리 좋아. 나 자리 좋아 나도. 일로 끌다 있다. 바텀 2차 들어가. 나 자리 좋아. 나 없어.
소천사야.
야, 타. 가비. 나 없어요.
괜찮아. 이겨. 야, 박을게.
나이스.
나이스.
펜타야?
펜타 아니냐?
내가 먹었다.
나이스, 잘했다.
Moderating this
Harrison.
And so, as we move into game 2, we'll see what more evidence we can find for these two teams. I do think something that was mentioned, perhaps in jest, by Chronicler there on the space, the D+ representative, was game 1s often go well. It's what happens after that for D+ in important matches that sometimes goes awry. In matches like this, though, like the match against B&K, they often do just close it out 2-0. Draft was a big part of the early game in game 1, and we'll see what it looks like now that Bro have side selection here in game 2.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the red side, I said it before, it struggled a lot, for sure. The draft, that's something I could agree with Cronny about. You know, the Sivir last pick just didn't really do it for me. Also, the Rel felt pretty lackluster, blind, and, you know, because Pantheon got played, it means that DK now, from the red side, get an extra ban. They're going to use it on the Yone, which Closer has been excellent on. And should be Azir to finish it off. Although with Talia available, maybe you want to flex it out and maybe see what you can go with. But
I think if you want to trade Rumble here, you can let them have Rumble and then grab a, you know, your pick of Azir, Talia, so you ban the other one away and then grab it, or you get Rumble plus Vi, for example. I think that's a pretty strong position here for D+. So say they take Talia, you get Rumble Vi. If they go Rumble, you know, you get the Talia plus Vi. You have a lot of different options here. You get two, and I think this is a nice little trap that's set up here for D+ Kia, because the picks here for Bro, or the bans rather, are not high prio picks right now. So D+ kind of get two awesome ones, and you only get one. And that's a little bit concerning here. I think Closer's Talia has been pretty good this year, and maybe that's the route he's going to take here. Instead, Wukong, which is fair.
I think Rumble is just kind of broken right now. I'm kind of surprised they didn't pick it up themselves.
Rumble plus Talia is kind of insane. They don't. It doesn't have a great synergy, both of them, but there's a ton of objective control and zoning with that. They can just go Rumble plus Jungle, which could be Vi, even though Vi hasn't been that great into Wukong. Or just pick Lucid's favorites. Xin Zhao, Lee Sin, he hovers.
He's just kind of going through all of his favorites here. Trundle?
Trundle, pretty good with the Rumble also, but not our favorite. A little bit less fun. But it's okay.
Yeah.
We know what he can do when he's got an Orianna in his mid lane on this pick.
Yeah. I mean,
he doesn't have it this time.
Flash into everybody and hope the guy presses R. Yorick, Talia. Talia makes a lot of sense. So Yorick as well has been a big one for Morgan. And he'll use that for the Rumble here.
Counter pick for this Talia is interesting. Could be Rise in this situation, but it's not a strong counter pick. And there isn't a lot of great side lane setup here for it. And he'll just go for the Ahri that he likes a lot instead. We've been very critical of this pick, especially in drafts like this where it has seemingly no synergy with the rest of the picks, like at all, like not even a little bit. But when Showmaker pops off like he did against B&K, you kind of feel inclined to trust a little bit on the pick. I think that Pillar can help you set up a charm, but that's about as far as I can really give credit to this this mid-jungle synergy.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I feel like on our team, I'm the least Ahri hater out of all of us. It is a big drop-off from the OPs, such as like the Azir, the Talia, Annie, Orianna, that we just saw in the last game. But I still feel like, you know, in the hands of the right player, especially if you are exerting a lot of pressure in mid lane, like Showmaker has done, it can be very good. We'll see if he can actually do it in this game, especially with a Trundle from the jungle. As now we're just banning away the 80 carries. Kai'Sa, Varus taken away.
You know, the Varus makes a lot of sense here. The Kai'Sa is pretty strong with the setup with the Talia, but it's not the greatest engaged setup for Kai'Sa follow-up that we've ever seen. There's kind of tier list banning right now. I like the Lucian ban a lot more because it's strong in the 2v2 and it just has relatively strong low-range burst follow-up to a Talia seismic shove. See what this final ban is going to be in terms of lane control. A lot of those picks are already gone. I'm just going to take Xayah, which is one of my least favorite picks into Wukong, which I've explained many times. I'm not going to explain it again, but
yeah,
I mean, it's not a bad ban. It's just not the most optimal, I would say. I'd rather see an Ezreal ban. Xerath would be very fun.
He's playing Jhin.
He's playing Jhin.
Xerath would be really fun, though, Wolf.
Yeah. This is a pick that Chronicler, I can tell, is probably gripping the desk a little bit more tightly when he sees, because he's not a biggest fan of aiming's individual performances on Jhin, but when you have this much setup for it, aiming performs decently well, even if there's a few mistakes along the way. Still ends up doing a lot of damage. Makes a large impact. And in terms of counter picks, there's just not a whole lot here. Just going to grab Rakan first, which means they still don't really have a plan as to what that AD carry is going to be. You could go for something a little bit more scaling here, or you could go for like Jinx and go, well, we've got enough setup to get resets and pop off. You can go for the Zeri.
See a lot of shifting in the chair.
The Zeri makes sense because you have a ton of frontline, you have a ton of engage. The follow-up becomes relatively simple here. If they had the Rumble instead of the Yorick, I'd be like, man, this draft is great.
There's a big grin on the face of CV Max. As is he actually going to do it? Can handle the Wukong and the Rakan very, very nicely. Especially because those two have a ton of synergy together.
Yeah.
And Jhin Janna seems like a pretty strong lane, but he's just going to go with the Alistar or the Nautilus.
Nautilus is what I expected. Very strong in the Zeri. It's been one of the oldest counter picks in the book. Not a role specific, because it's not an 80 carry, but is one of the great counters to Zeri because you click on her with your R button and then she gets done.
That's the way it works in League of Legends.
And then like Rumble presses R on top of her and Ahri gets in there and charms her.
Yeah.
And Jhin shoots from far away and you're like, okay, well that's kind of your win con down the drain. So Hype has to rely so much on closer Krako in these team fights. Paulo, to a lesser extent as well, he can be a great follow-up to the Wukong. It's been one of the strongest duos we saw when Wukong started to rise to popularity is the Wukong Rakan. My biggest concern is the way this draft came together for Bro didn't feel very confident in terms of how they lock those champions in at the end, which is often a sign of like, we can run this. We know it makes sense. We know it's good. Are we good at this? We'll have to find out when we lock in on the Rift here and everyone loads in. We got all 10 players on the server, but until then, I'm inclined to think that Comfort may just win out for D+ on the other side. That's a pretty horrifying draw.
Who is that, I wonder? I don't know. It just said like charm ping, basically.
I mean, I think we know who that means. It didn't look like him,
Yeah.
but there's only one Charmer in this roster.
It's true. Well, guys, we are ready to hop onto the Rift for game number 2. Let's do it.
미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
All right, game number 2 on the cards here. We're in the final week of regular season play at the LCK. And this is the second to last game for both of these teams.
And just to remind everyone, Bro will play against their direct competition in DRX later this week. Depending on what happens in the rest of this series, that may just simply be the decider. It also depends on what happens with DRX in their match against BNK tomorrow. So, you know, if they end up losing that, Bro win this, then it's kind of a done deal. So, see what the early game looks like here, because this does feel like, for Bro, a draft where you can actually lane in the early game.
Yeah, that's helpful, Wolf. That sounds very helpful. Being able to play the game in the first 15 minutes.
Sometimes you just opt to not play the game and then you do things later.
To Bro and Brew.
Yeah. I didn't really think the arguments from our Bro representative about that made any sense to me. As if, like, the
I don't think they were supposed to make any sense.
No, I know. But the Brew doesn't carry over into the second game. Also, if you just brew like they were doing in that game and never take any objectives, you'd end up losing out as well. As Paulu's going to use his Q for sustain here, as Barrel looks for a little bit of a trade. Level 2 on the horizon here for D+ very soon. Just one more for aiming to grab it. Well, they're going to crash this wave in. Krako is a Wukong. He's not going to come down here or do anything like that, even though he's nearby. Just some plate damage here and some potential CS deny.
Yeah.
Ends up being most of this going over to Hype anyways, right? Yeah, okay. Oh, decent
Some
amount.
of it.
Some of it.
Yeah, some of it still counts. Mid lane should go the way of Showmaker slightly. Bot lane should go the way of DK's bot duo. And top lane, definitely a bit more even, especially early on.
Especially if you miss harpoons. Phew.
Yeah.
All right, the Observer's calling him out there.
Whoa.
Oh, a little bit of a drop-off for Wukong. Only some Legend Wukongs seem to be getting the W's there.
I think by this, they're saying that no Rise Wukongs have won. And we had the evidence right there.
They clearly removed the Wukong from the Wukong A. They identified in their previous game, the stat was really Annie-focused, not Wukong Annie-focused. They were like, it was a trap all along. It's
Annie
really
got
just
another
Annie.
win. 13-2 now. Looking to lock down the Rakan here, expecting the grand exit, and there is going to be the flash from Palu just to be 100% sure.
Nice pillar placement there from Lucid to make sure he has to use that flash. Expects the grand entrance, was able to cut him off there, very close to death. And even a Trundle, you know, can make an impact at level 4. Like it seems like it's hard to do that, especially into Rakan, but if you play it that well, you have that Nautilus. Very powerful setup there in the bottom side. Lucid will just take his opportunity back right after that. Grab his longsword, a little bit of extra health. And it's a quiet early game otherwise here. You know, no flash for the Rakan. Doesn't necessarily matter pre-6.
Yeah, it's not the biggest deal in the world. I think that they're not really going to look for opportunities in the bottom lane for quite a while. This is getting very Shu favored. And I feel like Morgan should be a bit more okay than he is. Yes, Rumble is very OP. That is why it was chosen, selected here as the first pick on red side.
Morgan's just brewing. You see that Riot Games flag next to the turret? You know, we can't see it now, but it's still left of his turret.
I see one right there to the left of Morgan.
Yeah, there's another. That's not the one I mean, though. The one that says, like, Riot Games in text, like, English on it. Well, eventually we'll see. But anyway, he's got a coffee machine hidden back there because he's hanging out on the turret. He's brewing.
The root comes down. That's going to be barrier and heal used from both sides in that trade.
Why'd you say I see? You clearly couldn't see it. You clearly couldn't see what I was talking about, the flag there.
Yeah, I was lying. You caught me in a lie.
Yeah, no,
I was just straight up lying.
You think you could
Through
just
my
lie
teeth.
in front of thousands of people on the internet and get away with it?
I just couldn't help myself, you know. I had to get it. I had to do it. Sorry,
see the flag
everyone.
there, right there?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a coffee machine right back there. He's brewing.
Yeah, it's kind of like
You can make it out, right?
Yeah. Ooh, equalizer here, level 6, and oh no, Morgan, not like this. As the evidence from Degon not really coming to fruition.
Right before his coffee was done.
Although Crazy Croco? No, just the TP. Just gonna come through. And that's first blood in a solo kill going over to Shiyu.
Yeah, this matchup can go both ways, but usually the Rumble doesn't get this much control, but he has level 6 advantage. And he just drops the equalizer between wall and turret is never really where you want to be in this situation because it makes it impossible to avoid the equalizer, but he wants to avoid everything else from Shiyu, so he's just hugging the left side there. Next to his coffee maker, of course, and just gets burned to a crisp. The coffee is still safe, though, don't worry.
That's good. We might need that, depending on the way this day does go. Although at this point, might be a bit of a shorter one if it continues in this direction. No flash, no TP here for Shiyu, so he's like, okay, backing way up. I already got the value out of the solo kill. He does not have his equalizer, and he's going to come back to the wave when he needs to be here to pick up the cannon. And pretty much the entire wave.
It's not the end of the world because, like you said, the wave's gonna get caught here, but it's a relatively even CS situation up here on the top side. Yorick is going to build some MR here. Is going to be okay in this matchup. Still going to have a lot of push, a lot of side lane pressure that Rumble will not have. Shiyu had to use his teleport to get away. If he had gotten the gank off and gotten a free back and then was able to keep his TP, things would be a lot worse. Morgan gets to TP back to lane. But the fact that Rumble gets the gold eventually can become a problem, especially if D+ are able to turn this into an early fight win on Grubs, for example. Grubs will be spawning in 45 seconds. Lucid's on the top side of the map. And there's a lot of great strong points for both of these compositions at level 6 on the Grub fight, like Wukong's ultimate now online, the Subjugate, the Equalizer. Obviously, Ahri going to get a ton of mobility out of her Spirit Rush as well, as Weaver's Wall can be good for zoning. We may just have an all-out brawl here on Grubs if both teams feel like they have the setup because they're so strong at level 6, and it's just going to be one of those early fights with these two compositions that may be not the game decider, but certainly momentum decider, much more than just a simple 1,000 gold lead here and an early Rumble kill. Which is significant in its own right, but
yeah,
this could be a way back in for Bro if they get the right setup is what I'm getting at.
Speaking of setups, big rotations up from the side of Barrel and aiming. Gonna get the hook here on Apalu, who's gonna have to go over the wall. Has his flashback at least. Both of our supports have TP at the same time. Level 6 hit here by Barrel as he walks through mid lane, and so really staking their claim on the Grubs.
I don't think
TP
Bro
is coming in.
I don't know if Bro should really look to fight this. They're going to teleport the Rakannon, who again does not have ult like you say. Barrel does.
Yeah, I don't really think you can fight this. They're trying to get on top of Shiyu though as the equalizer comes down, and immediately Bro is like, well, we got to turn around now. Bit of damage is done to Shiyu as in comes the Spirit Rush. Croco trying to engage. The rest of the team not able to follow up at all as the charm comes through after the flash here. And now finally we have Closer coming on in. Morgan has to flash the wall himself, but bit of extra damage comes in from Showmaker. Flash on in with the Q. Gets the kill on a Croco. That's going to be a big win here in the early game for DK as they're getting the Grubs, they're getting the top plates, they're getting the kills, Wolf.
You know, the crazy thing about, I keep criticizing Ahri in these drafts because so many times in pro games, you see Ahri Vi, let's just say, for example. Why? Because it's so simple as, oh, press R to interrupt a back. Barrel's going to do that as they get another plate here, but Ahri works well with Vi because Vi ults in, you can't miss your charm, right? It's guaranteed, it's great synergy. We even see this with Viego, for example, where the charm gets up, the Viego stun, or vice versa. Showmaker's just like, I don't need all that. I don't need that setup. I flash in, I get that max range Q, I kill the bad guys. That's what I do. And when you can have this kind of performance on the Ahri in these skirmishes, she's incredibly powerful in early game skirmishes because of her dash resets, because of how mobile she is, because of all the agency she has. Now, I thought this was actually a team fight that was really well played by both sides. Bro, we're like, we can't fight this on the Grubs themselves. Let's push for Shield.
Uh-oh.
Hype. We'll lose his flash. Thought maybe that could have been something more.
Yeah. But yeah, it did feel like Bro were kind of scrambling to get up there and set something up. And I don't know, the TP that came in from Palu to try to set up the kill onto the Rumble. The Rumble, Shiu just turns around. He's like, I've already got one mask. It's not even the full mask, but it's just a guise.
The only way to win that fight, I think, is to try to pull D+ around. And I think D+, maybe of 2 weeks ago, completely whiffed the turn there. Don't coordinate how they play it out. And maybe you just pick them apart as they kind of filter in. Instead, again, I think this call to push onto Shiu is the only option you have if you're going to teleport in here as the Rakan. Unfortunately, the Equalizer is really good, gets the slow, which allows him to cook them. And then Showmaker comes in here, offers a ton of damage, and even though Krako's rotation here is correct, he's not able to, with the second activation of Cyclone, hit anybody, and they don't have the damage anyways. The Weaver's Wall's so incredibly late, and then watch this from Showmaker. Wall's not going to stop this guy. Bam! Almost takes Morgan out as well. Imagine that's a double. Like, Showmaker's like, it doesn't matter. I don't need setup.
He just gets the kills. And he did get the 1 kill. He got the 2 stacks on his Dark Seal already. As Subjugate going to be utilized here. They want to fight big time. Lucid just running in a straight line at them. As now we have the hook to come in. Palu forced to engage onto the Ahri. That's not going to work out. As now Hype 1v3. We do have the knockback is huge from Closer. But a bit of damage over the wall. And Hype is all alone. The charm comes in. And yes, they lost their Nautilus. As Closer now wants to do a bit more. And it looks like they should be able to take out Lucid, or maybe not, actually. The flash over the wall, and he is going to be just fine. And even Showmaker just playing with his food, just making room for aiming to push them away. And D+ get away with way too much in that fight.
They get so much out of this. It was so close to being a certifiable Zeri moment there. I thought, Matt, maybe I'd actually get to explain why yesterday we didn't have the Zeri moment certified, but I guess it just isn't going to be the game. As the situation here for Bro is quite awkward because you don't have a lot of information. If Krako goes in instantly there onto Showmaker and Closer follows up, maybe there's an angle there, but they don't have enough information. They commit here when they see it's 3, but aiming is already here. And even though Hype shows up with this amazing ult angle here, and the shove is fantastic from Closer, the focus here onto him, the charm, Showmaker's lack of fear, just goes in and completely takes him out, as then Closer commits in further. Showmaker gets away. Actually insane with aiming here. Closer tries to do damage over the wall here, and look at Showmaker dodging the threaded volley. Insane. Like, that, he should have been dead, like, by rights. Like, there were so many reasons why Showmaker should not have walked out alive. And you know what? I think it's a Majai's game. You don't die there. You buy Majai's 100% if you're Showmaker. I'm not losing any stacks this game. Luck is on my side.
Yeah, I mean, he probably will at some point. He has the 4 stacks, as it's going to be Cloud Soul as well. Feels just really fantastic for DK from ahead.
It's great for Bros comp too. It's just that they're so far away from it.
Yeah, it's going to take quite a while to get that online. But yeah, it would be insane. Like Zeri, Wukong, Rakan, everybody just loving that one.
Yeah, I think it's like way better for Bro, but they're 2 dragons away from it. So each individual dragon's movement speed will feel nice. But you know, we need to win team fights first. And with a near 3,000 gold deficit here at 13.5 minutes, I mean, last game we didn't have any kills at this point. The snowball is well and truly rolling down the hill. It's not Talia's. She doesn't have a snowball, but like she has ice, so I don't know.
Yeah, I was wondering where you're going with that one. As now, even holding on to the subjugation, says Lucid, they don't even need that, as that's going to be another kill and 2 more stacks for Showmaker. This game is already getting out of hand. It's 14 minutes in. This is when we had first blood in game 1, you remember.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, this is like, last game was one-sided. This game, again, every objective is D+. Like, not a single grub to Bro, just like last game.
Yeah.
It's insane, but this time they have all the extra kills. They have this Rumble that's starting to get out of control, who's looking for first brick. Which doesn't even matter, because they already got feats of strength, but he's going to take it just the same.
Yeah. All 3 going their way. And, I mean, I'm just really surprised they gave over the Rumble, especially to someone like Shiu, who, yeah, he had a big dip, a big slump, but it only lasted like a week or something, week and a half. The guy is definitely back and ready to play, and they gave him the strongest top laner on the patch. It's just a little bit surprising. I think there's a lot of issues with this game.
There's a lot.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they lost because they gave over Rumble, but
It's comfort that is given over to a lot of these players on Bro, right? Like, closers Talia, phenomenal, right? Best individual of the year, I've been saying. But it has caught up with him a little bit. We'll get more on the comp later, as we are going to have a bit of a fight here on Herald.
all right, they're engaging onto the Trundle. Definitely not the right choice here, as Krako getting extremely low. Might live because of the redemption. So much going down, but no, he's going to fall. The Rift Herald also goes over to DK, and it's kind of a lackluster attempt from Bro to try to fight over this objective. They wanted to sneak it away, and instead they're going to end up losing a bunch of lives, plus the objective, which is going to be summoned here in the mid lane.
And, I mean,
Yeah.
Is that just it? Did
Yes.
Bro just get 2-0'd, like, with not even a whimper? It feels in this entire series. I guess so. You know, this is not the Bro we saw crush D plus the last 2 times. He's gonna get another charge
Yeah,
here.
easy.
Top
Yes, the
turret,
angle.
bye-bye.
But wait, it was already dead. They used it again.
Shiu is like getting insane value out of his passive, hitting turrets with auto attacks. Auto attack, gets silence, and boom, attack speed going in hot on that turret.
I like how you said hot because it's Rumble.
He's overheated.
It makes sense. It makes a lot of sense.
I mean, this barrel engage doesn't even hit, but Krako defensively Cyclones here. Lucid is the target, like you mentioned, but there's just no synergy in this fight. Even the equalizer is like, what did it even do? It doesn't matter. They just lost the fight instantly off of the positioning there. D+ were able to collapse better, and Bro just not prepared to fight with this Hexplate Zeri at this point in the game. Hexplate feels so good when you're ahead. Does not feel as great when you're behind.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. Hexblade Zeri want to feel pretty tanky. Trying to hide on bush here, in this bush specifically, which, yeah, that's a Rakan. Paulo's like, yeah, I don't want any piece of that. Majai's already purchased.
Yeah, we knew it was coming. It's Showmaker.
It's just the fact that it's already online is it's just not okay. Kraka's gonna have to flash away. That's not what you want to do on the Wukong. So now Bro are like, well, we got to do something, right? We're gonna go in. We're gonna try to take the fight, but instead it just leads to total disaster because they're not even going to get Barrel. It just seems kind of very half-hearted at the moment. Since now the flash on in, they're gonna get the clone.
Shiu just not even here, by the way. Just want
Yeah.
to point that out. He shows up now.
Yeah, Morgan is just dead as well on top of it all. Had his flash, didn't even bother to use it. He knows 100%. Trying desperately to set up for the Cloud Drake, but instead they just fall flat on their face. Dubro and DK this far ahead, can't miss.
I just starting to wonder like what Shiu's damage to turrets is in this game, because he seems to not be in team fights a lot. The call here from Bro, when you know Shiu is topside, kind of makes sense if you're able to hit this engage as Palu. It's kind of insane, right? The problem is that you're playing into so much peel here. You're in this choke point where Pillar is going to get insane value. Showmaker has utility with his charm. And then this Jhin is just like, thanks for coming right into my playhouse. And then Shiu finally shows up. Like, I think Bro really thought they could capitalize on this moment while the Rumble wasn't there and didn't have TP. But they lost the fight before he even showed up, and then he just able to get that exit kill onto Morgan. 3,000 gold the lead on a Rumble that has been laning well, but has mostly just been hitting turrets. Like, he's 3-0-3. He's got big numbers, but it's kind of wild that it feels like D+ have been winning this game through just crazy skirmishes that Bro have opted into with poor coordination, and D+ just constantly go like, thanks for the opportunity. And this game now, with the 7,000 gold lead at sub 20 minutes, sub 19 minutes, D+ are like, I'll take any opportunity to fight. Like, you can't win anymore.
Yeah. This is a really important series for Bro as well. Like, they desperately want as many game wins as possible, even one. So maybe the pressure is kind of getting to them. I'm not 100% sure, but they have played much better against DK, against other teams in the Rise group in rounds 3 to 5.
There's a combination of several things at play here. D+'s current form and Bro's current form not lining up for Bro. You know, there was a bit of a pendulum swing there. And then you have things like the draft, for example. Both drafts have been a little bit shaky for Bro. This feels like a round 1, round 2 Bro draft where Morgan's like, I'm one of the best Yoriks in the league. It's a little bit fringe, but I'll play it. And we're like, oh yeah, he's pretty good at that. It's not winning, but I can respect how good he is at it. Now he's just picking it by giving Rumble over them, playing into it. They're losing lanes substantially, getting solo killed. Like, it's kind of a disaster. This feels super dated. What we're seeing here from Bro, Hype, fantastic Zeri player. Like I mentioned the comfort on this before. He played it a ton in Challengers, one of his best picks, but find yourself behind. He had that one opportunity to get accelerated. He failed. This is going to be a bit late.
Yeah, they're at least going to get the knockback, but he still had Celestial opposition. So Barrel's like, yeah, cool story. Pillar's going to come down. Now he's going for the re-engage. And even if he goes down, they're all baited into this fight big time. Exhaust goes down onto the Trundle, who really does not care about that at all. The Showmaker just stacking up more and more Magi stacks as if he needed any more. Lucid going to steal that kill, but he's still going to hit 20. And this game was over before this fight, but DK really putting the final nail in the coffin.
When you're behind a Zeri and you have Hexplate, you're not doing as much damage. The movement speed, the health isn't going to matter as much when you're the last man standing with everyone else on the enemy team at full health. And I think when he decided to start building that item, he did not expect, or at least not hope, that his team was going to be this far behind at 20 minutes. But you can see in some of these fights, he's doing what Zeri can do in these situations. He has his Runins now. Would have loved to have it way earlier. But yeah, Shiu, he's done a lot of damage to turrets. He continues to hit this one, but his damage to champions, also top in the game. He's just kind of roasting Burrow, as Chronicler probably will be doing to Degon in the space after this game as well.
Yeah, I mean, this fight is, you know, they're going all in onto Celestial opposition Nautilus, and they're pushing very far up the lane. It's again, it just kind of looks like desperation, Wolf.
It almost looks like the pillar is a Talia shove, you know? The pillar placement's so fantastic there from Lucid. He gets 2 knocked up there. And then Hype, he's trying so desperately, but he's just, his team is too far behind. And if there's a world where this game extends 10 more minutes, maybe he could be the hero. I just right now cannot see it. There's bounty gold to potentially be grabbed here. Shiu says absolutely not. I'm going to equalize.
Yeah. One harpoon to the face of Hype just means he's basically out of the fight. They're going to try to get the objective bounty, which I think they do get, but they're also going to lose an inhibitor for it. I mean, I suppose it's all you can do at this point. By the way, Baron can't even spawn yet. We're not even there. They're just getting an inhibitor in the bottom lane. And it looks like Cloud Soul on the way for them at the same time.
Yeah, they're just going to back up and set up for that. They already have all vision on the bottom side. Like this,
Otacon, you know?
This is the reason why this trade makes so much sense for D+, is there's more than just a inhibitor at stake. Is Shiu maybe losing a bounty?
Hide on Bush. As he flashes on in, Hype is dead 100%. Shiu looking for more. Thankfully, there's a lot of people here.
I mean, Closer picks up 1,000 gold, but they're on that Otacon. And there's a super minion wave heading down both mid and bottom lane that is going to have to be cleaned up here for Bro. This is just going to be a freebie, double objective in return. If Hype gets the kill there, if Shiu doesn't flash on him and kill him, and Hype picks up 1,000 gold, maybe you could dream. Like, you could try to make up a scenario in your head where, like, maybe that Zeri will carry. I'm sure Degon's doing it right now as we speak. He's like, hold on, maybe we get to the late game. But then Shiu's like, you want 1,000 gold for your Zeri? I'm just not going to allow that. Sure, it gets picked up here by the Talia, which is still a big win, but you wanted that on your Zeri so badly. That's why you made the play, and what you give up is double inhibs, double objective, Cloud Soul, and D+ are grinning ear to ear.
Yes.
You see on some of the player cams.
Yes, they are grinning. Big time. And, yeah, I mean, they just basically have everything Infinity Edge just finished now for aiming. Third item. It's a rough one for the Bros, for the Giga Chads. You know, they haven't really had an angle at all in this entire game, so it's going to be rough. This is not really the series they wanted to have going into their series against DRX later this week. And I'm just curious now how that one's going to turn out, especially if DRX can manage to get a win against BNK. Which I don't believe I predicted.
It's a tough one to call.
I don't think that's really the angle for DRX though, you know.
I don't think I predicted either. I think I predicted DRX against Bro as Closer goes for Hail Mary. Barrel celestially opposed to being picked off.
All right. Well, we got TPs coming in. Shiu is right here. This is an excellent angle for the equalizer. He hits all 3 of them. And now he is actually going to get knocked up before that Zhonya's does go off. I believe he had that, which is why he was so aggressive. And yeah, doesn't matter because the rest of the team is here. And they will do enough damage to take them down eventually. As Lucid, very tanky. can just kind of dive the turret, but with the Maiden there, actually, he's taking a bit more damage than I expected. Nice ghoulie wall to come in, but Showmaker is here with 25 stacks on the Magi's, and this game, guys, is over, and has been over for about 15 minutes.
Yeah, certainly one of the faster games here this week as D+ decimate OK Savings Bank Breon, and a match that means very little for D+, and a match that for Bro meant almost everything. Now, that matchup against DRX at the end of the week is their last stand they can make. We'll see what, again, happens against B&K for DRX tomorrow. It'll be a big requirement for DRX, of course, to keep things even, keep them close. But D+ at the end of the season here, looking much better. To be fair, this is against a shaky Bro. If you're writing a story about why you think D+ is in true form, I think probably this isn't the series that you point to. You point to the B&K series last week. But 2 back-to-back puts them on a 3-series streak right now. And D+ are definitely looking much better than they were just a few weeks ago.
All right, well, nice celebration from Lucid. I'm not sure what that was meant to mean, but he puts his hands on his head. And that must be yet another soccer celebration from the man himself.
Keep your brain quiet. That's what I interpreted it as, you know?
Yeah, he was thinking, yet also telling them to be quiet, showing the haters who's boss. Yet another Ahri game with 25 stacks of Magi's. He just keeps doing that.
It's wild that Showmaker gets 25 stacks of Magi's on Ahri. Pops off in game 1 as well. And yet, like, he's not the front runner for POM because Shiyu exists and Lucid exists.
It's hard.
And Barrel popped off on the Bard as well. Like, Atlas is definitely at home. Like, I'd vote for Barrel. And I think it's actually warranted.
He shouts into the void like nobody can hear him.
Yeah, we
He's
know.
just alone at home. Like, I voted for Barrel, guys.
His wife's telling him to be quiet, but she also understands she's used to it at this point. I think
old man Atlas at home, man. It's just.
This is.
I love the idea.
This is one of those games where, even if you voted for aiming, I'd raise my eyebrow at it, but you could kind of almost do it, you know?
Yeah.
With how he laned in game 1, as Jin was fine here, but everyone else just had such a big part to play, and aiming was just sitting back in this game going, well, it's a kind of a disaster over there for Bro. I guess I'll just sit back and shoot them. That's kind of what happened most of the time, as Showmaker and Shiyu, the big heroes here, but Lucid also such a phenomenal Trundle performance. Barrel absorbing pressure from this Nautilus, as Bro just can't find any angle. They're like, maybe we'll pick Barrel.
You know what Barrel did really good at is ending this game as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times he was just in the front line baiting them into fights, and yes, Bro did that very well as well, unfortunately for their sake, but Barrel was like, you know what? I'm just gonna bait them in. It's 20 minutes in, I wanna go home. Like, I'm just gonna run down mid and see who comes to fight me. And it worked.
This was one of the better equalizers this game. And it's just a meat grinder here, as Showmaker just adds one more to the highlight reel. And, I mean, can you blame Hype for trying his best in these moments to turn the game around? Like, of course not, but it's futile ultimately. As even Morgan is like, I'm out of ghouls! Got my ghoulie wall, but no ghouls! Lucid hit all my ghouls! I got nothing!
Not my ghouls. He's from Brooklyn for some reason. Yeah, and that was a 25-minute game. And it was just kind of over. 21,000 damage to Shiyu. The game didn't last long enough to do like 1k DPM, you know?
Yeah.
But it was still a ridiculous number for the guy. And it was back-to-back Dragon Souls that went over to DK. Like, every objective just went over to them.
And Bro just did not take fights decisively. Lucid will take the POM, and I think I'm totally okay with this, actually. I'm totally okay with this. I'm totally okay with Shiyu, who I voted for. I'm also totally okay with Showmaker. I think it's going to be a very split vote between the three, and you really could have gone either way. I know where Chronicler went, but like, you really could have gone any of the three of them.
Yeah, but where did the leader of the Lucid fan club go? Hawks.
He probably went Shiyu, I would imagine. Maybe
think so?
Chronicler kind of got it, started trying to warp his brain a little bit though. Because he's trying to remain impartial, right? Because Ox, even though he's the leader of the fan club, he doesn't want to just be a fanboy. He has to make the right analytical choice.
Yeah, well, he's trying to say that it's him. I don't think the leader of the Lucid fan club would declare it so obviously. I think it's just made obvious by, based on your votes, based on your passion.
I saw
for the player.
a picture of Lucid there, but it wasn't in his wallet.
Yeah.
Sounds like BS to me. If you were
It
really the
looks
leader, it'd
very
be in your
new.
wallet.
Looks very new, It's not like the old dusty photo in the wallet.
He doesn't have it on the dashboard in his car.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we can see that it looks very new. We got okay. Probably stole it from Ox. Like, we didn't see Ox there, right?
Yeah.
So I hope he's okay.
I hope Ox is
I hope he's
actually
okay.
drag him out back or something.
Yeah, a little bit worried. As the man himself, Lucid, will walk out on the stage and we'll hear from him shortly. Makes sense. I feel like you could have voted for pretty much anyone today, except maybe.
It's that kind of game. Like, it's sad sometimes in games like this where one team just doesn't show up at all, that you're like, well, it's hard to pick because everybody dunked on everybody on the other team.
Well, guys, we do have the interview ready to go. Let's throw it over to Deer for the translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Deer for the POM interview translation, joined by Lucid on the side of D plus Kia, the king of Rise. You got your payback from your defeat last round against the Bros. How do you feel? In the last matches, I feel like we definitely underperformed, and it was quite painful, but I think we did so well today and got the 2-0. Makes me very happy. And this is your second POM in a row. So how do you feel about your own performance lately? I feel like since the last match, I feel that I've been performing very well. And I think I just really have to focus on maintaining this sort of performance from now. And in game 1, after giving Pantheon away, you took Jarvan. And last time, you took Pantheon and took Xin Zhao. So can you walk us through your strategy of taking Jarvan this time? Pantheon as a champion, you have to utilize him very well. And I feel like he has a high difficulty when it comes to it. And I just felt like I can definitely counter the opponent, especially with Jarvan today. So I think that's what we were trying to go for today. And you're actually undefeated in 3 games with Jarvan. So how are you so good? I feel like, I've reviewed a lot of VODs while playing and practicing a lot of Jarvan. And I put in a lot of effort, and I think that definitely helped with my proficiency with him. Did you happen to notice that the Korean analyst does that Jarvan 20? That's something that we had called you. Do you like it? I think it's great. And your Jarvan really shined in this replay. Can you walk us through how you positioned and everything else? Well, first of all, we picked one on each side and we're trying to team fight. And I think we just really tried to stay focused to clean up until the very end. I just honestly, in the end, I don't think the Jarvan did too much here though. The Jarvan was the one who led the team to win the team fight. Don't you agree, fans? And in game 2, the enemy tried targeting the Trundle from start to end, and you absorbed all the attempts and survived. So, what did you try to focus on against Wukong? I feel like Wukong, the moment you get your first kill and your first items, I think that's when Wukong starts power spiking. So I really try to make sure that I'm able to take that first victory in the first team fight. And after the last match, Coach CV Max had high praises for you. And he mentioned that you guys are constantly coming up with a way to try new things. So is there any advice that he gave you that stuck with you? He told me to play more proactively, and I was actually told to treat my teammates as if they're lower tier, lower ranks. So I think I just had to really try to coddle them and try to make sure that I can take care of them. And I think that actually worked out really well. So, any message to CB Max? Yeah. I'm so grateful that you taught me a lot of different things, and I hope that we can stay energized to finish off the rest of the season strong. And now the only remaining match is against DNF, so what mindset will you play until the end? I think I want to make sure that we'll focus on keeping our performance and keep on working on improving it so that we are ready for the plans. And that's the end of the interview with Lucid, and back to the space. Thank you.